Welcome to Owusu 360 Learning. This video provides a brief summary of each United States president along with their notable contributions. Let's get started. George Washington was the first president of the United States between 1789 to 1797. He was known for his leadership during the American Revolutionary War and for establishing many of the precedents that would shape the presidency and the federal government. John Adams was the second United States president between 1797 to 1801. President Adams played a key role in the early development of the United States, including diplomacy with Britain and France, and was a leading advocate for independence. Thomas Jefferson was the third United States president between 1801 to 1809. President Jefferson was known for the Louisiana Purchase, which doubled the size of the United States, and for his advocacy of democracy, republicanism, and individual rights. James Madison was the fourth United States president between 1809 to 1817. President Madison, often called the father of the Constitution for his role in drafting and promoting the United States Constitution and the Bill of Rights. James Monroe was the fifth United States president between 1817 to 1825. President Monroe was associated with the Monroe Doctrine, which declared that the Western Hemisphere was off-limits to European colonization and interference, and presided over a period of relative national harmony known as the Era of Good Feelings. John Quincy Adams was the sixth United States president between 1825 to 1829. President Adams was known for his diplomatic skills, including negotiating the Treaty of Ghent to end the War of 1812, and for his advocacy of internal improvements such as roads and canals. Andrew Jackson was the seventh United States president between 1829 to 1837. President Jackson was associated with the expansion of suffrage to white males, the Indian Removal Act, and the spoils system, which rewarded political supporters with government jobs. Martin Van Buren was the eighth United States president between 1837 to 1841. President Buren faced economic crises during his presidency, including the Panic of 1837, and is remembered for his efforts to create a stable financial system. William Henry Harrison was the ninth United States president in 1841. President Harrison served the shortest term of any president, dying after just 32 days in office, so he didn't have much opportunity to leave a significant mark. John Tyler was the 10th United States president between 1841 to 1845. President Tyler was known for his advocacy of states' rights and for being the first vice president to succeed to the presidency after the death of a sitting president. James K. Polk was the 11th United States president between 1845 to 1849. President Polk was known for his expansionist policies, including the annexation of Texas, the Oregon Treaty with Britain, and the Mexican-American War, which led to the acquisition of California and much of the Southwest. Zachary Taylor was the 12th United States president between 1849 to 1850. President Zachary Taylor was a career military officer who became president, known for his opposition to the spread of slavery into newly acquired territories. Millard Fillmore was the 13th United States president between 1850 to 1853. President Fillmore signed the Compromise of 1850, a series of laws aimed at diffusing tensions between slave states and free states. Franklin Pierce was the 14th United States president between 1853 to 1857. President Pierce was known for his support of the Kansas-Nebraska Act, which allowed settlers in those territories to determine whether they would allow slavery, and for his generally unsuccessful efforts to prevent the outbreak of the Civil War. James Buchanan was the 15th United States president between 1857 to 1861. President Buchanan was an advocate for states' rights, particularly regarding slavery, and minimized the role of the federal government preceding the Civil War. Abraham Lincoln was the 16th United States president between 1861 to 1865. President Lincoln led the country through its greatest moral, constitutional, and political crisis, the Civil War, and is remembered for preserving the Union, abolishing slavery, and promoting economic modernization. Andrew Johnson was the 17th United States president between 1865 to 1869. President Johnson became president after Lincoln's assassination and faced significant challenges in reconstructing the South after the Civil War. Ulysses S. Grant was the 18th United States president between 1869 to 1877. President Grant was known for his leadership during the Civil War as a general and for his efforts to promote civil rights for African Americans during Reconstruction.